Game week 5 has been exactly what I thought. Season defining. Some teams continuing to cement themselves as either a contender or better than they were last year. And then there's some hopeless, wondering and looking for answers. Welcome back to Joeys Vanatge, where I'll be covering all the action from game week 5. Let's get into it. And first up, for game week 5, it was Liverpool v Everton at Anfield for the derby. Both teams aggressive, going in for the jewels. Both teams confident. Obviously, Liverpool haven't lost a game. And Everton's resurgence obviously made them up for it. Considering prior years, they weren't obviously a team that was going to beat Liverpool. Always might go in for a draw. They're always known for their defensive prowess. And look, at the end of the day, it was class and composure. You know, the goals from Gravenberch and then he assisted to TK. And I think at the end of the day, look, Liverpool continued to cement themselves as one of the best teams in the league, if not the best, because they have the talent that will push them over the line. And then we move on to Brighton. Their worst start in 5 years, home to a Spurs side who have been relatively good this year. It was Minte at the start of the game to start things off. He scored first. Then Ari, 20 minutes later, scoring a sublime goal outside the box. But then it all came crashing down with a goal to Richarlison before the half. And you thought, oh, going to the half, hopefully they can reassess. But then in the second half, it was Vanatge with a poor lapse of judgment with the own goal. And so Spurs went on to salvage a draw. And I think Brighton absolutely devastated with the draw. Then it was Forest away at Turf Moor to a Burnley side known for their defense. They obviously haven't been great this year. And look, playing with a back five, you know, if you're not gonna compete up the front of the pitch and you're not gonna be able to score goals, you're not gonna stay up. And I find it funny how teams like that play. You know, you want to be able to compete and stay in the league. And look, Forest should have got more out of this game. You know, you should have players like Callum Hudson-Odoi who came off the bench, be a spark. You need Gibbs White to, you know, make something happen to help the likes of a Chris Wood who was so good last year, you know, scoring 20 goals. And I think, look, there needs to be a progression at least in the next month if Forest really want to be able to stay, you know, mid-table or above. And then we move on to a Wolves side at home to newly promoted Leeds. And they came out of the gate strong with a goal from Craigie. And you're thinking, all right, is this the game where Wolves can get up? And look, they're known defensively, you know, ranking top 5 in a lot of your key defensive categories, you know, intercepts, duels, blocks. But then second in conceded fouls. And you think, look, a team like them, you can't give away the ball, you know, fouling. You're not going to be able to, you know, less possession, less of the ball, less chance to score. And I think, look, this hurt them. They were down 3-1 at halftime. And even though they had a lot of possession in the second half, they couldn't make the chances count. With the loss of Acuna, obviously, in the transfer window, I find it hard for them to be able to even do anything without the talent and the experience up top. And then it was Manchester United with so much on the line. They were ready. They came out the gate strong. And it was Mbeumo making Sanchez pay, who, you know, went in for that challenge, got the red, and you thought, all right, we're a man up. Can we make things happen? Can we, you know, really punish Chelsea? You know, they brought off Estevio and Palmer, and you thought, okay, they've lost their creativity. Can we really make them pay? Bruno went on to score. Casemiro with the header, and you thought, wow, this is 2-0 up at halftime. And then Casemiro, what are you thinking, mate? Just be friggin' steady. Don't overcommit. And then, anyway, Chelsea went on to dominate the second half, and then they scored a goal, and you thought, don't let this, you know, be a draw. And then, anyway, Manchester United went on to win. And look, Bruno nearly had that brace at the end, but it was a Jorgensen beautiful save. And yeah, what a way to finish the game. It's been my pleasure giving you my reactions to Game Week 5. Be on the lookout for part 2.